After I died, the bamboo horse that hated me for 7 years went crazy holding my urn. After my death, the bamboo horse that hated me for 7 years went crazy holding my urn. My name is Zhang Yu, and my sweetheart Lu Heng has hated me for 7 years. Because 7 years ago, I killed his father. For 7 years, he imprisoned me, tortured me, humiliated me, and treated me like a mobile blood bag. I endured everything numbly until I was diagnosed with terminal cancer. But he went crazy and spent a lot of money to keep me alive just to torture me for one more day. When I died in his arms, I told him with a smile, "Lu Heng, you took revenge on the wrong person." Only when he saw the suicide note and evidence I left did he know the truth. He held my urn and grew old overnight. But he didn't know that this was not the whole truth. 1. Zhang Yu, come here. Lu Heng's voice came from the living room, without any warmth. I put down the rag in my hand and walked barefoot across the cold marble floor. He was sitting on the sofa, holding a cigarette between his long fingers, filled with smoke. The blood bank is an emergency. Antley needs blood for surgery. That's it again. I have Rh-negative blood, panda blood. And so does Lu Heng's Bai Yueguang, the young lady of the Li family who needs his utmost care. Therefore, I became her exclusive mobile health pack. It's been 7 years, and I can't remember how many times this has happened. I didn't speak, just walked to the door silently, preparing to leave with Dr. Zhang. Stop. Lu Heng called me. I stopped and turned my back to him. Zhang Yu, do you think that by saving people with your blood, you can offset your father's sins? His words were like a dull knife, slowly cutting into my already riddled heart. I still haven't looked back. Don't you dare? Don't you dare look at me? He came over and pulled my body hard, forcing me to look at him. Look at me, Zhang Yu. Remember, you and your murderer father will always be sinners. What you owe me will never be repaid in this lifetime. I looked at him, the man I had loved my entire youth. Once, there were stars and me in his eyes. Now, only the hatred that cannot be resolved remains. My heart has died long ago. I know. I spoke, my voice hoarse as if it had been sandpapered. How much to smoke? My calmness seemed to irritate him. He grabbed my neck and pushed me against the cold wall. Who are you showing this dead look to? Do you think I dare not kill you? A feeling of suffocation came, but I didn't even have the strength to struggle. Even dead, when you die, you are liberated. Perhaps my obedience bored him, so he jerked me away. I slid along the wall and fell to the ground, gasping for air. Dr. Zhang, take her away. 400 cubic centimeters, not a drop less. His voice came from the top of his head, so cold that it dropped to pieces. I was helped up by Dr. Zhang and staggered out. Before going out, I heard him say to another person, "Watch her, don't let her die. She still has to save this despicable life to atone for her sins." My steps paused. It turns out that in his heart, I am not even qualified to die. In the car, Dr. Zhang looked at the dense pinholes on my wrist and sighed. "Miss Zhang, your body is too weak. If this continues, something will happen." I shook my head and looked out the window at the rapidly retreating scenery. Something happened? My life is no longer my own. 7 years ago, Lu Heng's father, Uncle Lu, fell from the top floor of his villa and died on the spot. All the evidence points to my father, Jiang Hai. Business disputes, premeditated murder. My dad was sentenced to life. Our family fell from the clouds to hell overnight. And I was dragged away from home by Lu Heng and imprisoned in this golden cage he built for me. He said, "Father's debt is repaid by daughter." He asked me to spend my whole life repaying the blood debt owed by my father. 2. After the blood was drawn, I was sent back to the villa. The whole person felt light and airy, as if he were stepping on cotton. As soon as I walked into the living room, a vase flew past my cheek and shattered on the wall with a bang. "You still know how to come back?" Lu Heng stood at the stairs on the second floor, looking down at me with a violent expression on his face. "Where have you gone?" I covered my dizzy head and had no strength to answer. He rushed down in a few steps, grabbed my hair, and forced me to raise my head. "I'm asking you something." A tearing pain came from my scalp, which made me sober up. "Go to the hospital." "Hospital? Oh, what wild man are you going to see?" His words were unpalatable. I closed my eyes, not wanting to see his face twisted with anger. "Lu Heng, I just drew 400 cubic centimeters of blood." "I'm tired." "Tired?" He sneered. "What qualifications do you have to call you tired?" "When my father died, why didn't you say you were tired? Why didn't you say you were tired when your dad pushed him down the stairs?" Those words again. For 7 years, he tortured me with these words over and over again. I'm already numb. Sorry. Apart from these 3 words, I don't know what else to say. Sorry? He seemed to have heard a big joke. "Zhang Yu, do you think you can save my father's life by saying sorry? You and your father both deserve to die." He grabbed my hair and dragged me to his father's portrait. "Kneel down." My legs weakened, and I knelt heavily on the cold floor. The sound of my knees hitting the ground was very loud. "Count out to my dad. Count out until I am satisfied." I didn't resist. I knocked my head to the ground mechanically. The forehead quickly became red, swollen, and then broken. Blood flowed down my forehead, blurring my vision. I seem to have seen it when I was a child. Uncle Lu hugged me and smiled and asked me to call him Daddy. Lu Heng held my hand and said he wanted to marry me as his bride. At that time, the sky was blue, the wind was light, and we all laughed sweetly. However, nothing can go back. What? Pretending to be pitiful. Lu Heng kicked me in the heart. I fell backwards and hit the back of my head heavily on the corner of the coffee table. My vision went dark and I completely lost consciousness. Woke up again in my room. Dr. Zhang is treating the wound on my forehead. He was relieved to see me awake. Miss Zhang, you finally woke up. Mr. Lu, he left. I asked. Dr. Zhang nodded. The company has an emergency. I know. I interrupted him. I know he doesn't care about me. He's just afraid that if I die, his revenge game won't be able to continue. Dr. Zhang treated my wound and put nutrient solution on me. Miss Zhang, I still recommend that you go for a comprehensive physical examination. You look very bad recently, and you often feel dizzy. I'm afraid. No. I refused. What a check. It's just the difference between dying early and dying later. Perhaps dying early is a kind of relief for me. However, I did not expect that this relief would come in such a way. After that day, I started to have frequent nosebleeds and unexplained bruises on my body. The pain in my body became more severe day by day. I finally went to the hospital. Alone. The weather was nice on the day I got the test results. The sun shines in through the windows in the hospital corridor and is very warm. I looked at a few words on the medical certificate. Stomach cancer, late stage. My hand shook. Then I laughed. Smiling and laughing, tears flowed down. It turned out that I was really going to die. Very nice. I'm finally free. I folded the medical certificate, put it in my pocket, and returned to the villa like a normal person. That night, Lu Heng came back very late, smelling of alcohol. He pulled me out of bed and threw me on the floor. Zhangyu, do you know what day today is? I lay on the ground and looked at him. My dad's death anniversary. It's been 7 years, Zhangyu. It's been 7 years since my dad died. His eyes were red, like an enraged beast. Why are you still alive? Why don't you die? He said as he started tearing my clothes off. I didn't resist. Like a broken rag doll, at his mercy. Just as he was about to enter, I spoke. Lu Heng. I'm dying. His movement stopped. 3. What did you say? Lu Heng propped up his body and looked down at me, his eyes full of suspicion. I took out the wrinkled medical certificate from under the pillow and handed it to him. Stomach cancer, late stage. I told him clearly, word for word. I thought he would be happy. He should be happy. After all, he hated me so much and wanted me dead. Now I'm finally going to die, and he should find it very satisfying. However, his reaction was completely beyond my expectations. He grabbed the medical certificate, and the eyes that once looked at me tenderly were now covered with bloodshot eyes. He stared at the piece of paper as if he was trying to make a hole in it. A few seconds later, he violently tore the medical certificate into pieces. Fake. Jiangyu, in order to escape me, you can even make up such a lie. He roared like a trapped animal. You think you can fool me with a piece of tattered paper? Do you think I will let you go? I'm telling you, it's impossible. When I saw his angry look, I actually felt a little funny. Believe it or not. Lu Heng, I won't live long. You finally get what you want. My words were like a fire, completely igniting him. He grabbed my chin violently, as hard as if he was going to crush my bones. Get what you want. Jiangyu, let me tell you, I didn't allow you to die. How dare you die? There was a panic in his voice that I had never heard before. Yes, panic. I read that right. He is afraid. What is he afraid of? Are you afraid that if I die, he'll have no one to torture? Jiangyu, your life is mine. Without my permission, the king of hell can't take you away. With red eyes, he punched the floor next to me. After that night, Lu Heng went completely crazy. He locked me in a room 24 hours a day with 2 bodyguards guarding the door. He invited the world's top medical team to set up a temporary ICU for me in our villa. The most expensive targeted drugs and the most advanced treatment equipment are constantly being shipped into this house. He spent a lot of money with only one purpose: save my life. He personally guarded me every day, forcing me to take those bitter pills and forcing me to undergo painful chemotherapy again and again. Once, I vomited so much that I felt like my insides were about to be vomited out. I begged him, Lu Heng, don't save me, just let me die. But he just looked at me coldly and handed a glass of water and a few pills to my mouth. Swallow it. Jiangyu, I didn't spend so much money just to ask you to die. You have to live well, and atone for the sins you owe. His eyes were colder than winter ice. But sometimes he becomes very strange. When I was in so much pain and couldn't sleep all night due to the reaction to chemotherapy, he would always be by my side. Don't speak, just sit quietly. Once I woke up in the middle of the night with pain and found that he had fallen asleep holding my hand. His brows were furrowed tightly, as if he was having a nightmare. I looked at his sleeping profile and felt an indescribable feeling in my heart. I gently pulled my hand away. He woke up immediately. When their eyes met, the trace of confusion and vulnerability in his eyes disappeared instantly, replaced by the usual coldness and disgust. "Woke up? Take the medicine when you wake up." He threw the medicine and water on the bedside table, got up and left the room. The back view is decisive, without a trace of nostalgia. I looked at those bottles and jars of medicine and suddenly felt ironic. While he cursed me with the most vicious words, he also used the most expensive drugs to extend my life. What does he want? This kind of life-extending torture that repeatedly jumps between hope and despair is more cruel than any torture. My body is deteriorating day by day. A lot of hair fell out, and he was so thin that only a handful of bones remained. Sometimes, when I look at my unrecognizable, haggard self in the mirror, I feel strange. Is this still the proud and bright Jiangyu? Does my soul still live in this broken body? I began to refuse to take medicine and refuse treatment. When Lu Heng found out, he held my chin, stuffed the pills into my mouth one by one, and then forced me to drink water. I choked and coughed violently, but he was indifferent. "Jiangyu, if you want to die, it's not that easy. You haven't paid back what you owe me. Even if you turn into a skeleton, I will keep you by my side." His words were like a magic spell, trapping me tightly. I can't escape. Even death has become a luxury. 4. My condition miraculously stabilized for a period of time under Lu Heng's treatment, regardless of the cost. But this is just a flashback. I know I don't have much time. I started planning my afterlife. I contacted my attorney and made a will. The content of the will is very simple. After my death, everything in my name will be left to my parents. Although those things are pitiful. Then, I handed over all the evidence I had secretly collected over the past 7 years to the lawyer. That evidence is enough to prove my father's innocence. It's enough to send the real murderer to hell. After doing all this, I felt like a big stone and my heart finally fell to the ground. For the rest of the day, I just want to finish it off in peace. However, Lu Heng would not let me live in peace. He seemed to feel that simple life-extending torture was not enough. He started bringing other women home. In front of me, those women, all young and beautiful, wearing revealing clothes and exquisite makeup, appeared in front of my hospital bed holding Lu Heng's arm affectionately. They looked at me, a haggard loser, with a victor's attitude. "Master Lu, is this the little pet you keep?" "She doesn't look very good, and she's also very sick. It's really unlucky." Lu Heng hugged the woman next to him and smiled evilly. "She's not a pet. She is the daughter of my father's murderer." I kept her just so she could see with her own eyes how good I was. His words were like poison knives, stabbing into my heart with precision. I lay on the bed and looked at them expressionlessly. My heart no longer hurts, because it has long been broken into powder. A woman, probably wanting to show off in front of Lu Heng, picked up a bowl of porridge on my bedside and walked up to me. "Hey, it's time to eat," she said to me in a commanding tone. I ignored her. She felt that she had lost face, so she threw the bowl of scalding porridge directly on my face. Ah! I screamed in pain. The hot porridge flowed down my cheeks, and a burning pain spread across my skin. I can smell the flesh being cooked. Lu Heng's expression changed at that moment. He pushed away the woman in his arms and rushed to my bed. "Jiangyu!" He looked at my red face, a trace of panic flashing in his eyes. The woman who threw the porridge at me was obviously frightened. Mr. Lu, I didn't mean it. I just wanted to..." "Roll." Lu Heng roared angrily without looking back. "Take your things and get out of here right away." The woman was so frightened that she turned pale and rolled away. Lu Heng and I were the only ones left in the room. He hurriedly found a wet towel and wanted to give me a cold compress. His hands were shaking. I looked at him and suddenly felt ridiculous. "How? Are you feeling distressed?" I pulled the corners of my mouth and showed a smile that was uglier than crying. "Lu Heng, don't you want me to die? Now, I'm burned and one step closer to death. You should be happy." His hands froze in midair. He looked at me, his lips moved, but he couldn't say a word. That handsome face showed an expression of embarrassment and bewilderment for the first time. Lu Heng, are you tired?" I interrupted him and asked calmly. "Torturing me and yourself in this way, are you really happy?" As if he was stung by my words, he stood up suddenly and returned to his cold look. "It's not your turn to ask if I'm unhappy. Jiangyu, please remember this. Your life belongs to me. Even if you die, you can only die in my hands." After saying that, he slammed the door and left. I know he's running away again. He was escaping from his heart, which had long been out of control. From that day on, he never brought another woman back. He seems to be nicer to me. He no longer stabbed me with vicious words, but just stayed by my side silently. He would personally give me medicine, wipe my body, and even read me storybooks. Just like when we were kids. For a moment, I almost thought we were back in time. Back to that time when he would put the best things in the world in front of me. But I know those are all illusions. Error 500, server error. 1500, that's an error. There was an error. Please try again later, that's all we know. We can never go back. 5. My body is finally exhausted. Doctors told me I had less than a week left. After Lu Heng found out, he locked himself in the study and did not come out all day. When I asked the servant to open the door, I saw him sitting alone in the dark, with cigarette butts all over the floor. He looked even more haggard than a dying man like me. Lu Heng. I called him. He raised his head and looked at me with his bloodshot eyes. What are you here for? His voice was extremely hoarse. Let me see you. I walked up to him and sat down next to him. Lu Heng, please let me go. Let yourself go, too. He laughed to himself. Let you go? Jiang Yu, do you think it's possible? My father's revenge has not been avenged. How can I let you go? Then what do you want? I asked. You want me to turn into a soulless body and be imprisoned here by you forever? He fell silent. After a long time, he spoke with an imperceptible tremor in his voice. Jiang Yu, what if my dad's death was not caused by your dad? I was shocked. I looked at him, wondering why he suddenly asked. What do you mean? It's nothing. He looked away. I was just asking casually. I know he didn't ask casually. He began to have doubts. 7 years is enough time for even the strongest hatred to settle down. He began to reflect and look for clues about the past. Perhaps he had already discovered something was wrong. It's just that he doesn't want to admit it. He didn't want to admit that the person he had hated and tortured for 7 years might be innocent. Lu Heng. I grab his hand. His hands are cold. I say if. What would you do if my father was innocent? He jerked his hand away as if it had been burned. No ifs. Your father is the murderer. This is irrefutable fact. He stood up excitedly, as if he was trying to convince me or himself. I saw him deceiving himself, and the last glimmer of hope in my heart was shattered. Never mind. Everything will be revealed after I die. The last day of my life, the weather was great. The sun shines in from the window, making it warm. I know my time has come. My breathing became weaker and weaker. His vision also began to blur. Lu Heng always stayed by my side, holding my hand tightly. His hands are warm. Jiang Yu. He called my name over and over again, with a cry in his voice. Don't sleep, please don't sleep. I opened my eyes hard and looked at him. This man I have loved and hated all my life. He had lost a lot of weight. His chin was covered with green stubble, and his eyes were full of exhaustion and pain. Lu Heng. I used my last bit of strength to speak. You retaliated against the wrong person. After saying these words, I felt that the last bit of strength in my body had been drained away. I smiled and slowly closed my eyes amid his shock and disbelief. Lu Heng. By now. No, never again. My world finally fell into eternal darkness. And your hell has just begun. 6. I'm dead. But I didn't reincarnate right away. My soul is floating in midair, looking at this cage where I have lived for 7 years. I saw Lu Heng holding my increasingly cold body, crying like a child. He kept shaking me and roaring my name. Jiang Yu, wake up, wake up. I ordered you to wake up. Did you hear it? But I can't hear it anymore. I saw doctors and nurses rushing in and trying to pull me away from his arms. But like a mad lion, he pushed away everyone who came near. Get out of here. No one can touch her. He held me and just sat on the cold floor from day to night. His subordinates, his friends, all came. They advised him and comforted him. But he couldn't hear anything. In his world, I am the only one left. One I am no longer breathing. The next day, my lawyer came. He brought my suicide note and the evidence I gave him. Mr. Liu, this is what Miss Jiang left for you. The lawyer handed a brown paper bag to Lu Heng. Lu Heng's eyes were terrifyingly empty. He slowly raised his head and looked at the paper bag as if looking at some savage beast. He didn't answer. The lawyer had no choice but to put the paper bag on the coffee table next to him. Miss Jiang said that after she leaves, you must see it with your own eyes. She said this was the last thing she could leave to you. After the lawyer finished speaking, he sighed, turned and left. Lu Heng and I were the only ones left in the room again. Oh no, it's a corpse and a living dead. Lu Heng's eyes finally moved from me to the brown paper bag. He reached out his hand, shaking, and picked up the paper bag. He opened the paper bag and poured out a stack of documents and a recording pen. He picked up the document first. That was a detailed investigative report. It records all the doubts about the case of Uncle Lu falling from a building 7 years ago, and how my father Jiang Hai was framed step by step. All the evidence points to one person. Lu Heng's stepmother, my biological aunt, Jiang Lan. Lu Heng's hands were shaking more and more violently. His face turned pale in an instant. He threw away the documents in his hand and picked up the recording pen. He pressed play. From the recorder, the conversation between two women came out. One is Jiang Lan. The other one is her confidant. Madam, it's all taken care of. The police won't find any clues. What about Jiang Hai? He doesn't talk nonsense, does he? Don't worry, we have threatened him with his daughter's life. He doesn't dare to speak nonsense. He will bear all the charges alone. That's good. Oh, my good sister never imagined until her death that her most beloved sister would personally destroy her family and steal her man. And her precious daughter, Jiangyu. Lu Heng hates her so much that he will definitely make her life worse than death. This can be considered as venting your bad breath. Haha, Jiang Shui, you can't fight me. Your man, your property, everything about you is mine now. In the recording, Zhang Lan's laughter was sharp and harsh. As Lu Heng listened, his body began to tremble violently. The blood on his face faded completely. No! Impossible! He muttered to himself, as if he couldn't accept this cruel fact. He raised his head suddenly and looked at me. In those eyes that were once full of hatred, at this moment, there was only endless regret and despair. Jiangyu. Sorry. He repeated these 3 words over and over again, tears rolling down like broken beads. His 7 years of hatred and 7 years of revenge have turned into a big joke. All he did was torture an innocent girl on behalf of his real enemy. A girl that he once said he would protect with his life. His world completely collapsed at this moment. It became nothingness. 7. Lu Heng went crazy. He hugged my body and rushed out of the villa. He wants revenge. He was going to kill that snake-hearted woman, Jiang Lan. I floated behind him, watching him drive to the Lu family's old house like a gust of wind. Jiang Lan was in the living room, drinking afternoon tea leisurely. Seeing Lu Heng rushing in with me in her arms, the smile on her face froze. Heng, what are you doing? What are you doing holding the sinner's daughter? Throw it away. Bad luck. Lu Heng said nothing. He just stared at her with a pair of scarlet eyes. That look seemed to eat her alive. Jiang Lan felt scared when he saw her. Why are you looking at me like that? Lu Heng slowly put me on the sofa. Then, step by step, he walked towards Jiang Lan. He took out the recording pen from his pocket and threw it on the table in front of Jiang Lan. You should know better than me what this is. When Jiang Lan saw the recording pen, her expression suddenly changed. Where does this come from? Where did you get this? Her voice was full of panic. You don't have to worry about where I got it. Lu Heng's voice was as cold as coming from hell. Jiang Lan, I just want to ask you one question. Did you kill my dad? Jiang Lan's face turned pale and turned blue and white again. She knew it was out. She simply stopped pretending. She smeared and stood up. So what? Lu Heng, don't forget, I am now your father's legal wife and the mistress of the Lu Group. Even if you know the truth, what can you do to me? Do you dare to touch me? Her fearless look completely angered Lu Heng. Lu Heng grabbed her neck and slammed her against the wall. I dare not touch you. Jiang Lan, you killed my father, framed Jiangyu's family, and ruined my life. Do you think I will let you go today? Jiang Lan was choked so hard that he couldn't breathe, and his face turned the color of pig liver. She struggled to squeeze out a few words from her throat. You can't kill me. You kill me, you will regret it. Regret? Lu Heng laughed, crazy. What I regret most in my life is that I didn't see through your true colors earlier and killed the person I loved most with my own hands. Now, I just want you to be buried with her. As he spoke, the strength in his hands became stronger and stronger. I watched Jiang Lan's eyes begin to turn white, thinking she was going to die like this. But at this moment, she suddenly used all her strength to take out a document from her pocket and threw it in Lu Heng's face. You read this, and then decide whether you want to kill me. Lu Heng's movements paused. He let go and picked up the document that fell to the ground. That's a DNA paternity test report. The objects of appraisal are Uncle Lu and me. In the column of identification results, there are a few words written clearly. The probability of paternity is greater than 99.99%, supporting the existence of biological blood relationship. Boom. I feel like my soul has been blown to pieces by these words. What's the meaning? I'm Uncle Lu's biological daughter? How is this possible? I saw Lu Heng. The moment I saw the report, my whole body froze. He seemed motionless, as if struck by lightning. The piece of paper in his hand fluttered to the ground. Jiang Lan held onto the wall, gasping for air, with a strange smile on his face. Now, do you understand? Lu Heng, the girl you have hated for 7 years and tortured to death with your own hands, is not the daughter of a murderer. She is your biological sister. Half-mother, biological sister. Back then, your father had an affair during marriage with my good sister, Jiangyu's mother. Jiangyu is the product of their stubbornness. In order to preserve his reputation and family, your father drove away the pregnant Jiang Shui and asked her to give birth to the child alone. He also made her swear that she would never tell the secret. That wimp Jiang Hai, for the sake of so-called love, willingly became a successor and raised Jiangyu as his biological daughter. Tell me, isn't it ridiculous? Jiang Lan's voice was like a poisonous snake, spitting out words and getting into Lu Heng's ears. I hate them. I hate them all. I hate my bio-sister. She is better than me in everything. I hate your hypocritical father for playing with my feelings and marrying my sister. So, I designed that accident to make your father die in ruins. I put the blame on Jiang Hai again and let him spend the rest of his life in prison. As for Jiang Yu, Jianglan looked at me with a vicious light shining in his eyes. She is the fruit of their love and the proof of their sins. How can I make it easy for her? I know you love her, so I will let you destroy her with your own hands. Seeing you two brothers and sisters torturing each other and turning against each other, I'm so happy. Jiang Lan's laughter echoed throughout the living room, full of morbid madness. As for Lu Heng, he just stood blankly, like a puppet whose soul has been drained. His eyes fell on me. That face had no life left in it. Younger sister. He said these two words softly, his voice trembling. Then he laughed. Laughing is worse than crying. Tears kept pouring out of his empty eyes. Younger sister. I personally killed my sister. He was laughing and crying like a completely crazy fool. He staggered towards me, and every step he took was like stepping on the tip of a knife. He walked up to me and reached out his trembling hand to touch my face. But his hand stopped just 1 centimeter away from me. He didn't dare. He didn't dare touch me. His hands were stained with my blood and tears. What qualifications does he have to touch me again? Ah. He suddenly held his head and let out a roar of extreme pain. That sound didn't look like something a human could make. It's more like a dying beast making its final cry. He knelt down in front of me and knocked his head heavily on the ground. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Brother is wrong. Brother is wrong. He knocked the floor loudly. His forehead soon became bloody and bloody. However, he felt no pain. No matter how painful it was, it couldn't compare to 1/10,000th of what he felt in his heart. This truth was like the sharpest Lingchi knife, cutting him apart inch by inch. The person he had hated for 7 years was his biological sister. The person he has loved all his life is also his biological sister. What a ridiculous, sad fate. With his own hands, he pushed his beloved and his relatives to the abyss of death. Never be reborn. 9. My funeral was very simple. The only person who came was Lu Heng. He was wearing a black suit, holding my urn and standing in front of my tombstone. Overnight, his hair turned completely white. That handsome face that once captivated all sentient beings was now only ashen pale and endlessly despairing. He looked like he had aged 20 years in an instant. He didn't cry. I just stood there quietly, looking at my black and white photo on the tombstone. In the photo, I smiled very sweetly. That was a photo he took of me when we went to the amusement park. He said that Yeye's smile was the most beautiful in the world. He wants to treasure my most beautiful appearance forever. However, he personally turned me into the ugliest and most miserable appearance. He stood in front of my grave all day and night. Not eating, not drinking, not moving. Like a lifeless statue. The next day, he was forcibly taken away by his subordinates. I followed him back to the villa. That building has imprisoned me for 7 years and has witnessed all my pain and despair. He placed my urn in our bedroom. I put it on the bed where I lay on it for countless days and nights. Every day, he sleeps with my urn in his arms. He will speak to me. Talk about what happened when we were kids. Talk about the beaches we have been to together, the stars we have seen together, and the wishes we have made together. Yeah, do you remember? You said that when you grow up, you want to be my bride. I'm sorry, I broke my promise. Yeah, are you cold? If I hold you, you won't be cold anymore. Yeah, are you still angry with brother? You can scold me, you can hit me, please pay attention to me. He talks to himself like this every day. Like a madman. Jian Lan was sent to the police station by him. What awaits her is legal punishment. However, Lu Heng did not get any relief from this. He was living in a hell he had created for himself. A hell that can never see the light and can never get out of. He started drinking heavily. Drunk every day. Only when he was drunk could he forget the pain for a short time. However, every time he woke up, the bone-gnawing regret would devour him even harder. He began to hallucinate. He can always see me. Seeing me wearing a white dress, standing in the sun, smiling at him. He would rush over and try to hug me. However, every time, I can only hold on to a ball of air. Then he would squat on the ground and cry like a child abandoned by the world. He doesn't care about his company. His friend, he was gone. He locked himself and my urn in that house. Isolated. I looked at him, he was getting thinner and more decadent day by day. I don't know how I should feel. Hate him? It seems that I can't hate it anymore. Love him? It seems that I can't fall in love anymore. Everything between us disappeared with my death. All that's left is endless sadness and absurdity. I thought he would always be like this, living like a zombie. Until one day, he put on the same white shirt I had given him on our first date. He shaved and combed his hair. He held my urn and sat on the rocking chair on the balcony. That day, the sunset was beautiful. He looked at the sunset in the distance and smiled gently at me. That was the first time he laughed after I died. Yeah, look, the sunset is so beautiful. Is it like the way you blushed when we first kissed? Yeah, I'm here to accompany you. This time, I won't lose you again. After saying that, he took out a bottle of sleeping pills from his pocket. He opened the bottle cap and poured all the pills into his mouth. Then he took a sip of water and swallowed them all. He hugged me, lay on the rocking chair, and slowly closed his eyes. There was a smile of relief on his face. I looked at him, tears falling silently. Although I am just a soul and have no tears at all. Lu Heng, if there is an afterlife, let's not meet again.